The government has announced that from 22nd September onwards, the premiums for health and term insurance will be exempt from GST. On the surface, this sounds like an instant 18% discount for everyone, but as always, the fine print matters. Whether you actually benefit depends on when your policy is issued, when coverage begins, and even whether you're buying fresh or already locked in a multi-year plan. Hello folks, I'm Shashank, you're watching Ditto Insurance, and in this video we break down the most common scenarios people are asking about, from new purchase to renewals, grace periods and free look cancellations, so you know exactly how the exemption affects you. And if you need some extra assistance regarding this, then book a free call with our advisors to understand the right time to purchase or renew your plan. The link is in the description. Alright, now, does the GST exemption mean a direct 18% discount on health and term insurance policies? So, let's understand this. With the new GST exemption on health and term insurance, you no longer see the 18% GST added on top of your premium. Now, many people on Twitter and Reddit are arguing that this doesn't automatically translate into an instant 18% discount, because when a service is exempt, insurers can't claim back the GST that they pay on their own costs, called input tax credit or ITC. See, normally that blocked ITC would push up the base premium. Now, I'll make it easier for you to understand. Earlier you paid, suppose 100 rupees plus 18% GST, bringing your premium to 118 rupees. Now with the GST gone, it should just be 100 rupees. The only catch is that insurers are also paying GST on their own expenses, and since they can't claim it back because of this exemption, some of them might be tempted to increase the 100 rupees to recover that cost. For now though, large insurers we work with have chosen to absorb this cost themselves, which means customers should still see the full 18% benefit in their premiums without any immediate hike in the base policy price. So yes, in most cases, you can expect a straight 18% discount. Okay, now let me answer some questions we have gotten from you folks. Will the GST exemption apply to both new policies and renewals? Yes, since GST is a transaction-based tax, the exemption covers all new individual policies and renewal premiums payable for all existing individual policies. Second question, I've already paid my premium, will I still get the exemption? Look, if it's a new policy, the answer depends on a couple of dates. Number one is the policy issuance date. This is the date the insurer actually issues the policy document. Number two is the risk commencement date. This is the date your insurance coverage officially starts. And number three is the premium receipt date, the date when the insurer receives your money. Now, the exemption is tied to the risk commencement date. If the policy is issued on or after 22nd September and the risk commencement is also on or after 22nd September, the GST you paid will be refunded. If your risk commencement date is before 22nd September, even if the policy document is issued after 22nd September, then GST will still apply on that premium. Alright, now you might ask, Shashank, how can the risk commencement date be different from the policy issuance date? See, I'll explain this. For some insurers, the risk commencement date, that is the day your coverage actually begins, kicks in immediately after you pay the premium. The policy issuance date, however, is when the insurer finishes all the formalities like medical checks, underwriting, documentation, and issues the policy document. That's why the two dates can differ. Now, let me explain this with an example. You might pay on 15th September, coverage starts the same day, but the official policy document is issued only on 25th September. In this case, even though the issuance is after 22nd September, GST exemption won't apply because your coverage began before the cutoff date. Third question, does it make sense to buy a new policy before 22nd September, or should I wait until after 22nd September? See, now that many customers are asking for GST exemption, insurers have made a temporary adjustment. Remember, some particular temporary adjustments. For new policies purchased between now and 22nd September, many insurers are taking prior consent from customers to issue the policy only after 22nd September, even if the payment is made today. That way, both the issuance date and risk commencement date fall after the cutoff and you get the complete exemption. However, some insurers still start coverage immediately once payment is received. Now, in those cases, the risk commencement date will fall below 22nd September and GST will still apply. If your insurer follows this practice, you're better off waiting until 22nd September to buy the policy. Otherwise, you'll most likely end up paying GST. A fair warning here though, if you delay issuance, obviously you will not have coverage during this period. Alright, let me take a quick pause here and remind you that Ditto can help you understand the scenario in detail according to your situation you are in. So book a free call with the link in the description if you're confused. Alright, fourth question. What if my renewal premium is due between now and 22nd September? Look, generally with renewals, the risk commencement starts the moment you make the payment, even if the updated policy document is issued later, which means if you pay before 22nd September, GST will most likely apply. But based on our conversations with insurers, the treatment may differ between health and term insurance. So first, for health insurance, some insurers have said they may allow customers to pay now but delay issuance until after 22nd September. Now, in such cases, they are likely to refund the GST once the exemption kicks in. However, this also means your risk cover will probably commence only after 22nd September, leaving you uncovered in the interim. Now, if you're hospitalized or diagnosed with a major condition during this gap, your claim may be denied or renewal may be questioned. Now, the same may apply if you decide to push your renewal into grace period and pay after 22nd September. So, you will likely get the GST exemption, but you won't have coverage from your renewal due date until the payment is made. For term insurance, it's slightly different. Insurers have indicated that they are not holding payments here. For term policies, the risk commencement is tied to the renewal due date, not the payment date. So, if your renewal is due before 22nd September, whether you pay on time or during grace, GST will still likely apply. We understand that this may seem confusing, but this is the communication that we have received directly from the insurers. Alright, moving on to the fifth question. My policy renewal date is after 22nd September, but I've already paid the renewal premium in advance. Will I still get the exemption? Yes, since your renewal date falls after 22nd September, the GST exemption applies. Even if you've paid early, insurers are expected to refund the GST once the renewal date passes. Now, if you don't receive the refund automatically, you should follow up with your insurer after 22nd September. Alright, sixth question. I've recently bought a new policy, but I'm still in the free look period. Can I cancel and repurchase after 22nd September to get the exemption? Look, if you are still within the free look period, you can cancel the policy and the insurer will refund your premium after deducting certain charges like stamp duty charges and proportionate risk premium for the days that you were covered. Now, what does this mean? Okay, example, you bought a policy on 10 September and cancelled it on 20th September. The insurer may deduct 10 days worth of premium and refund the balance. However, if you're outside the free look period, the math usually doesn't work in your favor because you're probably going to lose more in charges than you save in GST. Plus, repurchasing a policy means you're going through fresh underwriting, and if any health issues crop up, issuance may not be guaranteed. So for these reasons, we don't recommend cancelling and relogging just to save on GST. Alright, seventh question. I've opted for multi-year policies. Will I get exemption since I've already paid upfront? Unfortunately, there is no adjustment possible here. If you've already paid for 2 or 3 years in advance, you won't get the GST exemption, whether it's for a new policy or a renewal. The exemption applies only to transactions, that is issuance or renewal, or after 22nd September. So let me make it easier for you and show you a quick summary table. Feel free to take a screenshot of these quick summary tables. Alright folks, this is it from us. From 22nd September 2025, premiums on health and term insurance will no longer attract GST, which in most cases means a straight 18% saving. The catch lies in dates, when your coverage begins, when you renew, or if you've prepaid for multiple years. The bottom line is that you need to align your issuance and renewal dates carefully if you want the benefit. And if you're unsure whether waiting, renewing now, or switching makes sense for your situation, talk with Ditto's IDI certified experts to make educated insurance buying decisions today. Drop your doubts if you have any in the comments and we will answer them. Also, I will see you in the next video. Until then, happy insurance hunting.